So Malik, we're here at Year Up, and currently you're working where?
At JP Morgan Chase.
Wow.
I am a retail compliance analyst where I identify potential suspicious activity in consumer accounts.
How often is that occurring? Is that like
It's an everyday process.
Did you know that before you got involved in this kind of work?
I did know because I studied it in school.
Really?
Yes.
So did you study it before Year Up, or was that a big piece of what you learned in the program?
It was a big piece of what I learned in the program.
Now, they teach a lot of things. What are some of the things that you learned that weren't exactly that line of work, but it helped you now?
I would say using the different systems. So, of course, I couldn't be taught different systems in school because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I was not aware of critical thinking. So it takes a lot of time and energy to critically think and try to understand why people's accounts were alerted.
So actually reverse engineering it backwards.
Yes, correct.
You learned that in Year Up? Wow. So what was it like the first month? Was it like a completely new experience? Were you used to this type of environment of learning? What was that like?
I was so used to a very loud environment, being as though I was in a quiet environment in this setting. It was very different for me, so I had to kind of adjust to it.
Were you in school prior to it? Was it college? Was it high school?
I was in high school. I went to Del Castle Technical High School.
Okay.
And I studied cosmetology there.
Really?
Yes.
Why the switch? Why get into IT?
I felt as though cosmetology was a bit of a stereotype for me.
Okay.
Being as though, I'm a guy and most women go into that field and, getting the stereotypes wasn't for me.
You wanted to switch it up?
Yeah, I did, and I always felt led to stick with the business realm.
Wow. So now, who introduced you? Was it a specific mentor? Did you hear about Year Up from another fashion? But how do you find it?
I went to the Latin American Community Center. I was trying to find a job, just any job really, retail, and it was really hard. I just couldn't find anything, couldn't get anything. And I spoke with a representative there, and she introduced me to Year Up.
Wow.
And at first, I was thinking to myself, well, this is a pretty preppy school. I don't know if I'd be a great fit for this. But she sent my resume off, and, I had gotten a recommendation letter and everything, and it was great, and that's how I got in.
Who wrote the recommendation?
The lady that...
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think she saw in you?
Potential. Just the fact that I had a lot of optimism in me. Because I had a strong desire to just do anything. I wanted to prove myself wrong. Wow. I wanted to work really hard and, just show other people that I can do it, because that's how I was viewed. As someone that couldn't do it or, was not willing to put enough work into whatever I wanted to do.
So Year Up's giving you that?
Yes, that shows.
Now, so you had the desire, but what was it like coming into the curriculum and 9 to 5 and how it's all broken down? Was that difficult? And if you were to, so was that difficult?
It wasn't really difficult for me, being as though I had a set time to, go to sleep, wake up, eat, do whatever I had to do to get ready. It was really easy for me to adjust to, being as though I like being early and not really the type of person who likes to be on time with things. It was never me.
Yeah, no. So you ended up figuring that out, though, pretty quickly, or?
Yes.
Like, how do they track? Do they track and monitor how people, come in and
yes,
don't come in?
The
what is that like?
A big thing. So if you were running late, you would have to call this number to pretty much state your name and what you're doing, like where you're at, like your status, pretty much.
So like an accountability.
Yes. So that's what Year Up would actually do. It's just a lot of accountability.
Has that been beneficial for now that you're in the corporate environment?
Oh, yes, most definitely. It's been very beneficial. So if I ever had an issue that came about, whether I got sick, I would let my manager know right away.
Wow. So you'd communicate.
Yes.
Now, was that not the norm before, or do you see that with a lot of people?
I'd say beforehand it was difficult to communicate with people. I didn't realize how big that was in the corporate environment up until, now. Yeah. So communication is key.
It's crazy. I remember, a lesson I learned from a mentor once was I fell asleep on my phone, and it was like super early. I was supposed to work with this person. It was like a training environment, like a gym environment. And I usually would have just not told the truth. Like, I'd made an excuse. But I told him, hey, I fell asleep on my phone. And he's like, it's a good thing you didn't make an excuse. Show up tomorrow. And it just changed my whole perspective. So like in a sense, what I'm hearing from you about Year Up, it's almost like a year of that. That's powerful. Yeah. So soft skills, right? They focus a lot on hard skills as far as you have this job with IT and understanding all of this different things for Chase. Well, what about the soft skills? Can you break that down? Like, what are some of the things that you've learned?
Networking was a big piece for me. It was hard for me to approach people and just introduce myself. I wouldn't be here today speaking to you, if I wasn't confident enough. I had a confident kind of barrier. And that was something I had to break out of. So I had to put myself in difficult situations or uncomfortable situations and learn to get comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think you crushed it. You seem pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
So, all right, now can you break down it's fraud, correct? Like looking for people, like at work, like what you're doing. Can you break that down?
More so anti-money laundering.
Anti-money laundering.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting field. It's a lot of, like I said, critical thinking. So usually I would review a list of work items to see what accounts were alerted. And I would pretty much see if the customer has prior anti-money laundering history to see if they're politically exposed, review the alerting activity to see if it's cash related or wire related, just anything of that nature. I come across many different scenarios.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we won't get into the details.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably crazy.
It is crazy. You see a lot of different, movement in funds, and I like the field.
Like it keeps you on your feet?
Yes, it does.
And you have to critically think to be able to solve that problem, it sounds like.
Correct.
Now, what's the difference between like a Year Up intensive where you have people like coaching you through it versus the schooling that you were used to? Like, is there a big difference? Because I haven't taken Year Up myself.
Mm-hmm. I'd say in Year Up, they really focus more on your ability to speak, more so your soft skills, whereas a regular school would just focus on technical skills, like what you know. So I'd say Year Up was all about value, and that was a big part of my experience was value.
Yeah, like today. No, I mean, we appreciate you coming here. My last question is, what's one word that describes Year Up to you?
Rewarding.
Explain that.
You have to push yourself. You're your own test, and you get what you put into your experiences. And for me, like even though my experiences at Year Up were pretty difficult, it was not always peaches and cream and just rainbows and ponies, whatever you call it. It's very rewarding because when you put all the work into what you really want in your life, you see what comes out of it. Just keep pushing yourself and get through your own test, because at times you can be your biggest enemy, but you can be your biggest cheerleader.
Wow. Thank you so much for this. You crushed it. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.